All right, welcome everybody. We are going to get started here in 1 second. Just have a few people putting on shoes. Jenny, are you drinking from a water bottle without a cap on it?
I am.
What a risky business you got going on over there. I can see the water is like on a slant right at the edge. Like that's, I'm just impressed. That is true. So I had that happen in a race where the cap fell off, and so it was just open water, and it was just like shaking around. Yeah, all over the place. It was fine. All right, let's pull this up. Welcome, everybody. Live from Aspen, Colorado. 8,000 feet. My name is Thomas McPherson, and I'm the head coach of the Aspen Triathlon Club. We're just going to get started here. For those of you who are going to be using Zwift workout today, I'm going to count us in so that we all start at the same time. So if you're using Zwift, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, start pedaling. And that should start our workout all at the same time. Okay, welcome everybody. Why is my ERG not working on this? I do not know. Okay, so I'm going to have to pay even more attention than I usually like to because my smart trainer is not properly connecting, unfortunately. Okay, we're just going to pull up this so that people can see what we're doing over here. Drop this down. We're going to be using Zwift in this little small corner over here. You can see how the workout's going. It looks like it might freeze because we're having trouble with our Wi-Fi today, but see how it goes if it picks up. If not, we'll just drop it out. How's everybody doing today? Good. Yeah. I imagine it takes a lot out of you. Not that you're complaining or anything, but.
My legs are tired.
Yeah?
I skied with a winemaker group yesterday and skied all day.
Oh, it's exhausting. I'm excited. I have 3 days of powder of skiing ahead of me. So, those of you who are joining us, we got, what would you say, 2 feet of snow over the past 2 days, 3 days? 9, 10, 10, 11. Okay. So lots and lots of powder, which is, I mean, great news for us compared to last year. Rylan, you look like you're a little off balance there. I think that's probably the dance floor.
Yeah, this floor is all over the place.
Yeah. If you turn your front end towards me, it may even out a little bit more. Or not. Yeah, do you want to stick, you can use my towel to stick under the back leg or something. That looks good. You just put so much power through the pedals last time that you bent the frame of your trainer. Okay, so we have a nice long 15-minute warm-up, which is great. Gives me a chance to kind of talk to you guys about what we're going to do today. So, with the assessment last week, that marked the end of our first training block, which is always exciting, the end of January. So if you'll remember, which I'm sure all of you do vividly, our first training block was mainly focused on maximum power output. So really short, really high intensity sprints, all the way up to 45-second intervals. What some people forget to think about is the fact that, physiologically speaking, we don't have zones the way that it's typically written in a training plan. So you're either in zone 2 or you're in zone 3. It doesn't work that way. You're either max power or VO2 max. It's all a spectrum, right? So we can just be on that edge of zone 3, but still mainly high zone 2. So when people are like, okay, I'm going to do a VO2 max workout, so I got to do 3 minutes. Okay, now I'm going to do a threshold workout, so I have to do 10 minutes. It's not that cut and dry. So we're going from, we started with 15-second sprints, went to 30-second, went to 45-second sprints. In our second training block, we're gonna start doing efforts in what's called functional reserve capacity. And I'll get into the explanation of that in a second. But the point is, we're gonna go from 45-second efforts to 1-minute efforts. It's not really a big difference, but our body is really prepared for it because we've been doing 45-second efforts. As we build into VO2, which is 3 minute, we're gonna do minute, minute and a half, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes, and our body is slowly gonna be more and more prepared for that. What a lot of athletes do is, this week I'm gonna do VO2, so I'm gonna do 3-minute hard efforts. Next week, I'm gonna do threshold, so I'm gonna do 20-minute hard efforts. And your body is just jumping back and forth. So here we're really preparing our musculature, our tendons, our joints for the next week's work intervals as well, okay? So we are, in this training block, getting away from our max power, and we're gonna work anaerobically and aerobically. So this one's interesting. Sure, all of you are familiar with the term VO2 max, right? Your VO2 max is a stationary spot, right? So if you're using power, my VO2 max is, say, 270 watts. When I go above that, I'm in oxygen debt. When I'm below that, I am working a little bit below my maximum oxygen uptake. But that doesn't really describe a zone. The zone should be below that to above that. We call that functional reserve capacity. So I have to describe this properly for it to make sense as to what we're doing. If you take an athlete and you have them work above their threshold effort, they can only go a certain amount of distance. They can only put in a certain amount of work. Okay, so like say 2,000 kilojoules worth of work. It's just a bad estimate, but. So if I'm above threshold and I'm on a run, for example, I might be able to run 3/4 of a mile above threshold. If I run way above threshold, I can only run for 30 seconds. If I run just above threshold, I can run for 75 seconds. But irregardless, I can only go the same distance before fatigue sets in. So, if I'm, say, climbing a hill, a short, punchy hill, and I put in a ton of power, or I'm doing a long, sustained climb with a little bit of effort, theoretically, I can only put out the same amount of energy. So when we are going to be doing, say, today's 1-minute efforts, we may go, let's say, 1/4 of a mile. But when we do 3-minute efforts, we might also still only go 1/4 of a mile. But because it's that longer duration, it's just a different type of effort, okay? So that is really what we have to train. And our VO2 max falls within this zone. So when we get up to 5 minutes, that's still working on our FRC, but it's more of a sustained FRC. Whereas today is going to be high level FRC. So what that all comes down to is we're going to work on how far we can go above threshold. When we talk about burning matches in races, this is what we're focusing on today, is so that instead of only having 4 matches, we may have 6 matches. And instead of them igniting and then burning out, you can ignite them, have them slow burn, and you can still have stuff in the tank. When you see a really good, say, TT cyclist who can get in the aero bars, do 40 kilometers, really solid. But then you try and get them to climb some hills and they just get dropped. They don't have a good FRC. And so for us, especially those of you who are going to be doing a lot of climbing, this is a perfect complement to our heavy gear, low cadence work. So this is going to mean, okay, I can crown that top of the hill with effort, recover fast, and still have a lot left to burn after it. Okay. Any questions on that? No, okay. So, perceived rate of exertion, that'll get me into, we're gonna do this 15-minute warm-up. Then it'll be 3 minutes dialed back, where we get a little bit more of a recovery. And then we're gonna go into 6 by 1 minute efforts. There's gonna be 3 minutes recovery in between those. And then in between 3 and 4, there's gonna be 5 minutes recovery. Rate of perceived exertion is still gonna be really high, 9 to 10. So this is, if you think of VO2 max as like high 8, this is above that. Your VO2 max, you should be able to hold 3 to 5 minutes with training. This is only a minute. So it's essentially going to be, sorry? High cadence. So again, because this is, we have a big focus on power here, but ideally now that we're getting into longer sustained intervals, it's not just neuromuscular and strength. You need a cardio portion so that you don't fall into debt too soon. And so in order to relieve our legs a little bit, we end up putting more strain on our heart and lungs by increasing that cadence. So, with that being said, in this last 3 minutes, I wanted to do some high cadence drills. So what we're gonna do is in 30 seconds, you're probably gonna pop it into an easier gear. I just want you to increase your cadence to as fast as you can comfortably go without bouncing, okay? And you're just gonna build it for 30 seconds, and then we're gonna recover for 30 seconds. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Gear down a little bit, and just start building. Take off. I'm gonna put this out so people can see my knees. And done. Okay, so now we can dial it back a little bit. It's pretty bad quality. All right, so here you can see Zwift and power and cadence that we're aiming for. All right, so 15 seconds until our next build. Ten seconds. You should feel your breath a little bit faster. 3, 2, 1, build into it. This isn't about power, it's about speed. Nice straight up and down knee movement. Full pedal strokes. 3, 2, 1, bring it back down. So really focusing on that knee and making sure it's going straight up and down like a piston. Let's get the heart rate up. 15 seconds. This will be the last build. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Build it again. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice and easy. All right. That would be Ryland over here. Like a little card that you use to in your spokes. All right. So we're gonna have 3 minutes. Nice and easy recovery here.
Is this session like my run session today? Into this?
Yeah. So you'll notice our run and bike sessions in our training plan that we're working now are very similar. And that's because I've said this before, but not online, is my wife's in development, so I like to use this analogy where if I'm renovating my house, I'm not going to put a counter in my kitchen, then go do the floors in my bathroom, then paint my bedroom, then go back up to the kitchen and put in a sink. What I'm likely gonna do is, okay, let's attack the kitchen first, get it done, and then move on to the next one. Your body's the same way. So it needs a stimulus, and then it adapts to a stimulus. If that stimulus is too variable, the adaptations aren't going to be as beneficial. So I was reading an article and they were like, my coach says boring training is productive training. And it's sad, but it's true. But you also want to keep it interesting. But what we're doing is we're targeting the same system in both the run and the bike so that your body's like, I know this. I'm going to adapt to it and be better next week. And then it sees it and it's like, I'm going to get even better. And then we slowly change things so that it adapts throughout. As we get closer to the race, it gets much more race specific, i.e. incorporating hills, longer threshold work, things like that. So it will be very similar to the run that I had you do. Was that today?
Yeah.
How did it feel?
Yeah, right. Those squats were pretty tough.
Yeah.
I felt like I was going to actually fly off the treadmill.
That's kind of the plan. Ideally, we do those ones outdoor on the track, but when we don't have a track because of 2 feet of snow, it's hard.
Yeah.
But that's how I want you to feel.
Yeah.
I literally thought I'm in a similar phase as you. I had my 2-minute intervals, and my last one, I thought I was going to black out and go off the back. We don't want to do that, but that is the heavy, heavy power that we're trying to put in.
Yeah.
And
I couldn't fix it, but I was like just being very fine.
yeah, and I mean, that's not bad.
Kind of worse.
So instead of 116% of your threshold, you were closer to 114. Still good. Okay, we have 11 seconds before our first interval. 1 minute, RPE of 9 or 10. Heart rate won't catch up in time, so it doesn't matter. 3, 2, 1, go. Halfway. Twenty seconds left. 15. 10. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it back down to easy. So, like our other intervals, the first one's going to feel tough as you continue to warm up. Usually 2 and 3 feel a bit better. 4, 5, and 6 are going to suck. We're keeping our rest and recovery very similar to what we've been doing before. 3 minutes. So, exactly. So, we got a nice, solid recovery before we go again. So, Jace, the only difference you're really going to notice between intervals on the bike and run is you likely can manage more on the bike than you can on the run. So here we have 6, but you could go upwards of 8 and still feel relatively comfortable. But trying to do 8 on the run will blow you out and risk injury. And so when it comes down to recovery, physiologically we're looking for the same thing, is to have long enough recovery that we can attack the interval with the same intensity, but not too much recovery that we're not getting a benefit. Yeah. So they've actually done a study, because I am someone who subscribes to neuromuscular. You can take upwards of 7 minutes of recovery. For tempo and threshold, it's really short. But they actually found that optimum recovery is usually 3 to 5 minutes, regardless of what you're doing. It gets you recovered enough that you can repeat the effort, but not so much that you're over resting. So ideally you can, not ideally, but theoretically you can just have 3 minutes of rest after everything and you're going to be good to go. 10 seconds until our next one. It was a quick 3 minutes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Keep that cadence up. Nice strong core. Ryland, I like that you're down in the aero bars. "30 seconds. "15. 10. 3, 2, 1, done. That's 2. Good time to take in water when you're recovering. Two more things I'll point out, Jace. In the recovery on the bike, you'll likely be able to sustain a higher effort. In our run, we usually walk. On the bike, you'll probably drop to zone 2 for recovery. So you can sustain a bit higher effort. Secondly, with you guys using power meters, is that power is specifically based on your ability level. So people who are better short course sprinters, things like that, will likely have a higher power in relation to you in terms of percentages. Whereas for our long runs, they would likely be at a much lower percentage. So where you can hold 84 and then jump up to 90 for the tempo, they may be at 77, 78. Yeah. Yeah. The heart rate lag, which is exactly why we're not using heart rate for these intervals, is by the time the minute's over, your heart rate's still climbing. It hasn't reached it yet, which makes it essentially ineffective and like useless. Yeah. You have to keep looking down. Oh, and actually having the monitor on your wrist. Yeah. Whereas power, you take off and you look down and it's there, which makes it amazing when it comes to pacing.
Why does power change though? Like if I'm on the treadmill, I'm not going to, I haven't changed anything, but it does fluctuate a little.
Bring me back to that after this interval. 15 seconds. It's a very good question. I'm going to repeat it so everybody hears it. 8, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thirty seconds. Hang in there. 20. 15. 10. 5. 2. 1. Easy. Oh. Not feeling easier. Long rest though. Sorry? 5 minute here. Which still won't feel long enough. Feel anxiety in the chest. Trying to catch that breath back. Whew. For those of you who can see my Zwift screen, you guys can look at it later. Instead of my heart rate going to recover, it's not recovering very well. No, I've actually been home taking care of a sick toddler, so I haven't done anything. Did a hard run yesterday, but yeah, it's going around. I've never seen Charlie that bad. It's been really hard to watch. No fever. She gets worked up and then throws up, but it's not, I don't think it's related. But like, just eyes watering, nose running, coughing. Okay, Shelly, can you repeat your question because I completely forgot it.
So if I'm on the treadmill, it doesn't have any, I don't change any factors.
Right.
The power does change, not a lot, but
Okay.
Just fluctuate.
So the question is, if on a treadmill and using a power meter and the treadmill is set to a consistent speed, why does the power change? Fluctuate. So it can be two things. One, depends on quality of treadmill. Sometimes there are accelerations and decelerations in the motor. Most oftenly, it's running efficiency. So when we talk about horizontal power, if you go from 70% horizontal power up to 75%, then theoretically you have to put in less power or you're going to run through the treadmill. So as you have subtle differences in foot plant, ground contact time, horizontal power, your power will fluctuate with it. Slight changes. You shouldn't see much more than 10%. But next time try, it could be, yeah, you might land a little bit further in front of you, which acts as a brake. A really good test is when you're running, you should be looking about 20 to 30 degrees in front of you, kind of down. Try looking up and running. It'll change everything. Yeah, it'll throw all your gait off, and it's amazing the difference. And with that data that I sent you the email about, you can just watch it. And I could guarantee you could pick yourself out being like, that's where I changed. That's where I went back to normal.
Well, I've been trying to do that as well. Make my arms.
To more frontal plane. All right, guess what? Only a minute left. Yeah.
So when I did my bus assessment on Saturday,
Yeah.
my watch said 10.5 pace, but the treadmill said 12.
So, your watch is most likely off. Unless you use a foot pod that's super accurate, pays attention to outdoor runs and GPS and stuff, your watch just uses an accelerometer and it estimates your stride length. So it assumes your stride length is 1.5 meters, but it's only 1 meter. You're not going to be going as fast as it says it is.
Basically, you can never do an assessment.
You can. And I'll explain in 20 seconds. A minute and 20 seconds.
2 minutes and 10 seconds.
Oh my God. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Good cadence, Shelly and Jace. Looks good. It's good cadence. Thirty seconds. $20. $10. 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh. How many people think 4 is good enough? Whew. Heart rate is still above threshold. 168. Still at 170. Now I'm at 168. Yawning, Jenny. Yawning. So, funny story. It's likely because you're oxygen deprived. So your body's like, I need to get more oxygen in.
Yeah,
But
run like 5 times really fast. Zero.
I think you still have a little bit more you can give. Yeah. You're yawning too early. If you yawn halfway in to our recovery, great.
So funny.
Okay, Liz, your question was you can't do an assessment on a treadmill because your watch isn't that fast. I would say, give me the numbers from the treadmill. So make sure you pay attention to when you start and when you end. Watch for 3.1 miles on that and tell me how long it took you. And that'll be good enough for me. Your heart rate will be the same, but a lot of treadmills aren't calibrated, so it might be off too. The key is we want to keep working out on that treadmill. Perfect. Yeah, I should have just asked you. You know that stuff. Treadmill is so different than outdoor. So if your assessment is 12-minute miles indoor, don't let that make you think it's going to be that outdoor. My long runs are like 9.5-minute miles indoor. And I still put up a sub 130 half marathon. Like, it's not, that does not mean anything. Don't let that fool you. 25 seconds. As fast as, yeah. They're just completely different. 10 seconds. 5, 4, the boredom's gone. 3, 2, 1. Nice, Jenny. Maybe slow it down a little bit with a higher gear. Good. Beautiful. Thirty seconds. $50. Five, 2, 1, recover. Just like that, we're down to 1. This one will be the hardest and yet the easiest all at the same time. Because you know there's only one. So these are ceramic speed. I think they're called UFO pulleys. And the idea is physics, twofold. One, they have really good bearings, so it spins really easily. Number 2 is the fact that, just jump down to some easier gear, is that the more bend you have in a chain, the more effort it takes to get it around. Whereas if it's a nice big loop, you're not losing as many watts in your drivetrain. So the tighter the angle the chain has to run, the more you lose to just friction. Yeah. And so having a bigger pulley allows it an easier path to go. I mean, I think the thought is it saves you like 3 minutes over the course of 112 miles or something like that. It is. I love them. I also use their coated chain, which is coated in a wax instead of a liquid lubricant, and it's phenomenal. I don't work for Ceramic Speed. I wish I did, but I really like their stuff.
Is that a pretty new trend?
Yeah, past 2 years, I'd say. Okay, 30 seconds. So, I mean, it all comes down to, I don't want to improve my body as much, so I want to pay for any savings I can. I want to take the easy way out. 10 seconds, that's not true.
Well, you're doing that by taking your body's life.
5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Last one. Put everything in. Halfway. $20. 10. 3, 2, 1. Done. Pretty sure I just set a heart rate record for the year on that one. All right. Well done, everyone. That was only 6 minutes of work. Whose legs feel real heavy now? Yeah. Chase, how are your legs after skiing?
They're actually rough.
Okay.
That was the top of skating this afternoon.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy that we had a longer warm-up for you, just to hopefully help it a bit. Great. We'll see how they feel tomorrow. Are you? Oh, couldn't imagine. And it's just so much harder in power. Like, it's exhausting. All right. So, we have a minute left of this nice easy recovery. But then in our cool down, we're going to jump up a little bit harder and then progressively slow down. Okay? Let's take this last minute. Nice and easy. I got to figure out what's going on with my trainer. So, exciting times. We've had people reaching out left, right, and center for the Tri Club. Had someone call today from New York who's coming for 2 months, wants to train along with us. Yeah. I have so many things on the docket of what I want to do, including like taking out an ad in the Aspen Times, things like that for locals, more Instagram marketing. I want to try and reach out to some coaches in Boulder, like Siri Lindley, some of the really good ones, see if they'll come up for just a weekend. Do some training, give a speech. I mean, if we can make enough money as a tri club, we can pay for their hotel or something, but it would be amazing. And they're close enough where it's not out of the question, and her athletes are just next level.
I think it's the right time and we could pursue an article on the paper too.
Yeah, that'd be great. Do you know people?
Ads or articles or even just calendar items, the paper or
Yeah.
Tell them right, I'm going to that every day.
Really?
it's really easy to get those messages.
Okay, I am coming to you guys as my marketing branch.
I don't know how to do it, but
Yeah, awesome.
the paper, everybody reads the paper.
Exactly. Everybody
I don't know any other town or city in America.
that still reads the paper. Yeah. Okay, so we have 10 minutes cool down. So a little bit more effort. That looks great. How'd you feel on that last effort? It looked good. I also want to point out you did not spill your water, and I'm impressed. I was. Right? That's for quick access to throw it in a biker's face who doesn't announce their passing or
I had a friend in college on the team. There was this one spot where a dog always barked just behind the fence, and one day he was out, and my teammate just like immediately totally smooth just got his dog off the
squirt it. Just, I've done this a million times before. Like, who heard about the cougar? Really? Just choke the thing. Bare hands. Yeah. They said it was a juvenile, and that's. I wouldn't want to try it, but what? There's killed it with his bare hands. With his bare hands. My favorite internet comment was Chuck Norris looked at his resume and hired him immediately. But like, how terrifying. Yeah. Self-defense in nature. So, I mean, keep your wits about you. Yeah. Another quote I like is, if you see a mountain lion, you're either the luckiest person in the world or the unluckiest person in the world. Because they just don't want you to be seen. They don't want to be seen, and they won't be. 6.5 minutes, nice cool down. So you can see where, say, a minute recovery in those intervals just wouldn't be enough to get back. Gone, yeah. I mean, I was at 4 and I still was like, nope, I don't want to go on. That's it.
So we were doing 4 minutes other than that middle?
3 minutes.
What's that?
We were doing 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
Yeah, and then we had 1 5-minute to try and recruit between the 6. And so these will really help for those short punchy climbs to get up, over, and feel good. But there's something to be said, like that podcast you sent me, Jace, about learning to suffer. And there is nothing like suffering for a minute or a 3-minute effort. You just go to a very dark place. A 20-minute effort is hard, and you go to a dark place, but it's just not the same. Yeah. It's manageable, because you can do it for 20 minutes. And so when we get this type of suffering out of the way and you hit that 20-minute effort, you're like, oh. Charlie, that's partly why I think you had such a breakthrough run last week. That 5K, like, it's unheard of to drop 2 minutes in a month. That's just not normal. Sickness. So sickness is big, and the more you suffer in these intervals, the more your mind is resilient through a 5K test. And so, bang on, like, even, Jace, like you said, with that, you may have felt good for a week, but you're still not going to be back to normal after that sickness. Four more minutes, so it should be nice and easy now. So, obviously I won't be here Friday or Saturday for the swim or the run. Rylan, I gotta send you your swim workout if you plan on doing it Friday night. Everybody else should have theirs. I'll do the same for the run. How did those intervals feel for you last week, Rylan?
And run?
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. Ready to extend it to like 30, 45 seconds? Yeah. No pain or anything?
I had a look at the forecast, and it's supposed to be sunny Friday and nice Saturday, so hopefully that will be.
It'll be cleared? Yeah. Yeah. So that, I think, is a benefit, though. Because when it melts and then freezes overnight, you just have that. I think I have your long run. Don't think I have intervals for you this week on that run. I'll make sure that all that's in line. I have my computer with me, so send messages if you have questions, comments.
My Saturday is a 55-minute long run.
Yeah,
Should I even bother to show up at Parsons?
it's up to you. So, treadmill could be boring. You could do the park run sandwich, where you come warm up, run the park run, and then just keep going after.
Okay.
Or you can just do it on your own. Depends if you want to wake up early, what you want to do.
Have to be at the third and market time.
So I probably wouldn't do park run unless you want to run a lot before it and then just finish with the park run. All right. So for those of you online, if you want to follow us, you're probably watching us on Facebook at Aspen Tri Club. But you can also follow us on Instagram, where we're much more active at Aspen_triathlon_club. The lead sponsor for today was Try and Try Coaching, private coaching for triathletes. And then if you have any questions, you can send us an email at support@aspentriathlon.club, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. For the last minute, we'll just say thank you for joining us, and if you want to sign up or donate to our cause, just go to aspentriathlon.club, and you'll see a Join Us tab where you can donate or become a monthly member, which we always prefer. All right. Thanks for joining us, guys.